What's up, everyone? I am back. NXT TakeOver 31 is in the books, and you guys got to tell me, was that the best pandemic era TakeOver we've had so far? I can't say a bad thing about any match on this card. I thought it was fantastic from top to bottom. I was wildly entertained by this show, and I thought the men and women put forth a remarkable effort, especially that main event. I literally just tweeted out a minute ago that match, that O'Reilly and Balor match, to me had shades of Benoit and Kurt Angle from 2003, one of my favorite matches ever, all the way down to the handshake and the show of respect at the end. That was good stuff. This was a great takeover, and we're here to talk about it. I am broadcasting from the new crib. It is a work in progress, still a lot to do. Believe it or not, even though it wouldn't look like it from the background, I'm only about 40% done here in terms of kind of getting everything situated, but I've got enough ready to go to start streaming again, and I apologize for there being no podcast yesterday. Just wasn't quite ready to get going with that yet, and we'll be back up here tomorrow as well after Raw, and then from there, we should start settling back into our routine here now that I've got my move and my transition just about underway. Hope you guys are having a good night. Can you hear me? Yeah, you can. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed here about the cats as well, because they are both psychos, and hopefully they will leave us alone enough to where we can actually talk about this show. I got enough volume and everything. Still working on the lighting in here. Things will look different the next couple of streams that I do. Still got to get a little bit brighter in here and do a few things, but I wasn't going to miss tonight. I wanted to make sure I came up here and talked about TakeOver, and man, we had some fun stuff on the show, and we had a couple of really cool announcements and a couple of returns. So it was a pretty loaded show. I'm going to go over to the Twitter poll that I just put up. Asked you guys to grade the show. Just give it a letter grade, A, B, C, or D. You guys are rocking it out with the A's and B's, 52% A, 41% B, 6% C, and 0% D. I don't think there's a fan out there that's going to give this show a bad grade. It was pretty good stuff. Even though, and these are my favorite type of shows. This is a show where we saw 0 title changes, but it was probably one of the more entertaining takeovers we've seen in about a year. So that's saying something right there to the talent, that you don't necessarily need to have title switches for it to be a good show. You know, it didn't matter to me. Titles or no titles changing hands, I don't think it would have mattered in terms of my entertainment level. You know what I mean? So you guys, let me know what's going on. Good to see you in here. Antoine, I think you joined late. You had tweeted out your approval of the new setup, the Capitol Wrestling Center that they've renamed. That's where NXT was broadcast from tonight. Now, I've been moving all week, so I was completely out of the loop on this story, but apparently they're going to move out, back out of Full Sail into the PC, and then they decided to redesign it, you know, and redo the interior of it, and also almost make it like a little Thunderdome-ish. They've got some virtual fans in there now, and they've lined the plexiglass now with like an actual black mesh fence, which looked cool. And of course, a million freaking lasers and all that stuff. But one of the more interesting things that they did is rename the PC the Capitol Wrestling Center, which just to me warms my heart. Capitol Wrestling is pretty much what WWE was prior to it being WWE. It's got ties to Vince McMahon Sr. and even beyond that. And that's what a lot of that was operated under, like way back in the day before becoming WWF, and then WWF, and then WWE. So that little throwback, any throwback really, which we'll talk about. We had another announcement for a throwback later. That always feels like NXT is the better place for that. You know, I think main roster would ruin it. A main TV show would ruin it. The fact that NXT, and I think Triple H has a lot to do with that, are the ones that kind of have these little callbacks to the past. I love. So I thought it was a nice touch. And you guys tell me, I almost like this a little bit better than the Thunderdome. The Thunderdome is almost like too visually stimulating. It's like too much going on. This is a little bit more intimate, and it's a little bit more confined, and it's a little more darker. You know, still has that NXT feel of the dark arena, but now you have the virtual fans in there, but you have less of them, and you can see them a little bit better. And like I said, the plexiglass I was never a fan of, but I don't hate the mesh fence. I think that looks pretty cool, and the overall setup I thought was pretty good. Now, if only WWE could put forth the same amount of imagination and creativity into their storylines, characters, theme music, and presentation as they do the arenas, we might be onto something here. So I just thought it looked fantastic. I was not expecting that. I just thought they were going back to the PC and the shows were going to look the same as they always do in the COVID era. But they really stepped up the game there, and that whole setup looked great. So I thought that added to it as well. props to all of the enhancement talent that were surrounding the ringside area. They were very vocal and they were marking out for everything. And they really took me on a roller coaster ride during the Santos Escobar and Isaiah Scott match, one of the best ones of the night. And, yeah, some piped in, "This is awesome" chants and things like that. But, they're trying to recreate the atmosphere in a virtual or digital sense. I mean, they got to do it somehow. So even though, it's silly, they're piping them in, I still think there's aspects of it that help. We've seen that just from the evolution of this, going all the way back to WrestleMania, how they basically just wrestled in silence. Imagine if we could have gotten Charlotte and Rhea Ripley or McIntyre and Brock inside of this type of environment. It would have been amazing. So you can't expect them to put this level of production together in 3 weeks in time for WrestleMania way back in March. But now that we've had 6-7 months here and they've really kind of adapted, and that's one thing, we have our problems with WWE and everything, but that's one thing that they have been very good at doing throughout the years is, maybe not in recent years, because changing with the times does not seem to be Vince's strong suit, but they certainly adapt, and they've taken this COVID situation and they've done this. Now they have 2 really good settings for TV, where, AEW, for example, is just still running out of Daly's place, which is working for them and it looks great. But WWE didn't sit on their ass here and just kind of coast through the COVID and just wait for it to go away. They're kind of making plans that this is going to be the future, going forward. So I think the Capitol Wrestling Center is a nice little touch there on a throwback name for the PC. I like the virtual fans. I like the setting. And we'll see, with the Thunderdome, we all like that too. But now people are starting to see holes in it or whatever. But this setup is a million times better than what it was. So I liked it all the way around, and we were off to a good start right off the bat. And like I said, I wasn't aware because I've been out of the loop all week, haven't been paying too much attention to wrestling news. I didn't even watch SmackDown on Friday. So I didn't know that they were doing all this. They even released a video earlier today that I also missed. So I knew nothing about the new setup at the PC until we went live on the air. So it was a pretty cool surprise for me. But anyway, hope you guys are doing well. Thank you, Antoine. Like I said, it's still a work in progress here. It's going to look a lot better. I only have one media shelf built right here. There's going to be another one that's going to go down that wall over top of the Super Mario thing. But I just hung up that throw blanket in the meantime to create a little background there. So it didn't look too disheveled. But the rest of this room is an absolute disaster. But I'm getting to it, man. And it will evolve and develop here as well. And we'll see, kind of the better setup. And like I said, I got to get the lighting a little better and work on a few things. But I think by the time we get to next Monday's stream, a week from tomorrow, we should be ready to rock the shit out, man. Anywho, glad you guys are here. The NXT reviews never do huge numbers here, so we'll just be happy with what we can get tonight. Appreciate the love, Big J and JL and Nikita and the legendary and ungovernable Richard and Stone Cold. You guys are all here. Yeah, look at this. 9 out of 10, 9 out of 10, A. I can't disagree, man. Bullet Club, Prince Divot, Demon King. Hi. Good to see you, FTW Wrestling. Yeah, David, I agree with you, man. Oh, man, how great was that Halloween Havoc announcement? Now, I maybe marked out a little bit too hard when it was announced, because as soon as I saw Shotzi and she said, like, trick or treat, I'm like, all right, if they're doing a Halloween-themed show and this is not Halloween Havoc, I'm going to blow a gasket. And then immediately after she said that, you see the big Halloween Havoc logo, and I lost my mind. I'm like, sweet, awesome. The only downside to this, something I didn't realize until right after, or until a few minutes later, is it's not a pay-per-view. It's just going to be a Wednesday night show, which is still not bad. I'll be interested to see, what kind of the ratings they will do that night going opposite AEW. But I was kind of hoping at first, or thinking at first anyway, that it was going to be a pay-per-view. I'm like, oh, that's fantastic, because we've gotten the In Your House. They do the War Games stuff, and now we've all been asking for Halloween Havoc for years. I recently did a Halloween Havoc review of 98 just a few months back, and I know I said in that more than once in that review that they should bring back the damn gimmick pay-per-view because the fans miss it. WCW, they had their faults, but man, they knew how to do a pay-per-view set. Go back and look at that, like 96, 97, 98 Halloween Havoc pay-per-view set. That is how you do it. And I would just love, I've always wanted them to bring that back in some form, and I think NXT is a perfect place for that. The In Your House was fun. The War Games are always fun. and I'm sure this can be fun as well. And I just hope there's enough room in that PC to put some sort of a giant pumpkin in there. That's going to be fun. But I'm sure they'll book a title match or something like that. Shotzi Blackheart, by the way, is going to be hosting this, so they're going to use her as the host because she's kind of all freaky and deaky like that. So she'll be fun doing that in that role. It's something good for her to do. And we've got the pay-per-view back. They recently blocked a couple of trademark filings that Cody Rhodes had attempted, and I think one of them might have been Slamboree or Spring Stampede or something. So maybe WWE has plans to do more of this. I would love Triple H to put the Spring Stampede name, in April or March next year with an NXT event. That would be fun. Same thing with Slamboree. We've done the Great American Bash. What else are we missing WCW-wise? They've done Starrcade. They've completely bastardized Starrcade as a live event, but they could do something fun with that as well in NXT. And I'm just glad it's there and not the main roster, because honestly, if I were going to see any WCW names resurrected, I would like to see that in AEW more than anything else. But if it's not going to be there, I think NXT is the next best choice instead of having Raw or SmackDown doing something like this. So overall, they've been pretty much the go-to place for anything like that. So I'm excited to see Halloween Havoc just for nostalgia. And I'll tell you, we better get a Chamber of Horrors match. Maybe put the entire women's division in there, and the loser gets electrocuted or whatever the rules were in that thing. All I know is Abby got shocked pretty good. Or put the whole Cruiserweight division in there. That will be fun. Somebody can moonsault right into the chair, and then you put the hat on them and sizzle them. Oh, good stuff. Good stuff. I'm excited. Antoine, good to see you, man. Appreciate the 5. So can we talk about how Vince is jealous of Triple H and is not letting him take over because he knows Triple H is better than him? Good topic. We can talk about that. I don't know if that's true or not. It sounds like something Vince would do. I don't know, though, if Vince is really the jealous type. He doesn't come off that way. He seems so oblivious and up his own ass, he almost doesn't seem capable of getting jealous. But, if I was Vince, that would be such a silly thing to be jealous of. If you've worked your whole life to build and make this company, and you are not going to live forever, you will die. Don't you want it to leave it in the hands of somebody that has the best interest of wrestling and your company at heart? Why would you not want that? And if you see somebody that's really smart or really good or really has potential, to be jealous of that, I think would be horrifically foolish. And I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know what the upside to Vince not wanting his company to succeed after he's gone is. If it's like, well, if I'm dead, I don't care what happens to it type of thing. Maybe that is his attitude. I don't know. Your network DA30 didn't let you see it. It was great, man. Try to check it out online. Try to find a stream of it. You will not be disappointed. That's for sure. Good stuff. We'll start getting to the results here too. Let me move my notes over to where I can read them. All that good stuff. We'll start going here match by match. But we knew we were off to a good start because the card was fantastic, and then when they kind of unveiled the new setup there at the PC, it looked really good. And it was kind of just a little omen, for the night. Like you had a good feeling that this is going to be some solid stuff. So anyway, we open up the show. There was nothing on the kickoff, just a 30-minute studio deal with the wonderfully handsome Sam Roberts and my boy Scott Stanford, but no matches. So they just kind of ran through the card there. And we opened up with the North American title match, Johnny Gargano taking on Damian Priest. Now Damian, of course, just captured this title at the last one. I didn't see him dropping it here, but both Garganos have title matches tonight. So in my mind, I didn't do predictions, of course. I wasn't able to come up here and give you guys that. I apologize. If I did predictions, though, I probably, was going to pick Candice to win over the two of them, just because of how new Damian Priest is with that title. If this would have been a ripe champion, or somebody that, is ripe for the picking, then I probably would have picked Gargano. But I think Priest is, just getting going with his run. So he's not dropping it yet. But this is a really good match, and I really enjoyed the finish. And this is another, kind of omen for the night. We just had a fantastic match between these two guys, despite their size differential and everything. They kept up with each other well and went into the amazing finish with Priest basically countered the one final beat and was able to twist and tie Johnny up right into the ropes where he's able to hit his finisher. I don't know what it's called. It's kind of like a crossroads type of deal, whatever he calls it. And it was just wonderfully executed. And Gargano was, just the way his legs were laying on top of each other. And, you knew as soon as he covered him, there's no way he's kicking out of that. Really good match there and a solid title defense for Damian Priest. Not a shocking victory or anything, but that would be the theme of the night. Just really, really, really good matches. That would carry over into the next one. We've got Kushida taking on Velveteen Dream. Now, Kushida, of course, does the Back to the Future gimmick, which I love. Velveteen makes his entrance, and I don't even realize that he's got like kind of a Doc Brown thing going on. It took Beth Phoenix mentioning it for me to say, oh, yeah, he's got the white hair, the pants, and those yellow gloves from the opening scene of Back to the Future where the Libyans come and everything. So I thought that was a nice touch. You say what you want about Dream. The one positive thing I will say about him is he always just hits home runs with his themed looks at takeovers. But based on everything that's going on with him, Triple H even said something this week, basically admitting that Velveteen's immaturity and some of the problems in his personal life is affecting his professional life. And many people are surprised that he's even on TV based on some of the allegations that have been levied on him. And you knew, based on the way he's been handled as well, a lot of people were picking Kushida here because they're not really going to be pushing him really hard, Velveteen that is right now. So this match wasn't that... this match was pretty predictable, I should say, but it was good. It was really good. Dream... Kushida's got him in the finish is kind of like an armbar type of thing, which I just really love because he's just like so tenacious. So he's got the armbar on the Dream. He can't get out of it. Dream is able to counter the armbar into the Dream Valley Driver, hits it, but Kushida just rolls right through it, keeps the hold on, and just keeps wrenching the hold until eventually Velveteen, screaming and wincing in pain the whole time, has to tap out. And I thought that was the right call. I thought that was the right ending for that. It was a big win for Kushida, and his stock is rising a lot. So, putting him over Velveteen here was going to do nothing but good things for him. And after the match, Kushida continued the attack. He went back to the armbar again, locked it on. Dream is screaming. You almost had a little sympathy for him. He was doing a great job selling it, screaming a lot. I think Kushida even got pulled off by the refs and went back one more time. Really put a hurting on Dream's arm, and they kind of like faded to black as Dream is just screaming on the mat while the referees are helping him. So what do you guys think? Is Dream getting a break? Was that some sort of a write-off? Do you think he's even going to be possibly released? I think released might be a stretch. I think if you're going to release someone, I'm not sure if you're giving him pay-per-view matches, but at the same time, you've spent a lot of time and investment on building this character. You might as well try to get something out of it before you dump it. So to use it to put somebody else over, I could also understand that. I think they would have released him outright if they were going to release him. So maybe this is just another break for him, but it definitely felt like his arm might have been kayfabe broken, which is going to keep him off of TV at least for a few weeks, possibly even longer than that. And, maybe they're just telling him to hang back until more smoke clears, or maybe tomorrow our friends over at Fightful or somewhere else will report that he's been let go. I don't know, but he lost pretty clean there, and then Kushida just continued to injure him after the match. I don't know. Feels like we might not see Velveteen for some time after that, but the upside to that is that it was a great victory for Kushida. I don't know really anybody that doesn't like him. He's a lot of fun, and put him in a title match with Finn Balor. I'd pay money to see that. Right after that was when we got the Halloween Havoc announcement. That's when we started getting the vignette and the promo. You see Shotzi Blackheart. She says something like trick or treat. They kind of slowly unveil the Halloween Havoc logo. It was amazing. So this is going to be on October 28th. It will be a Wednesday night, and just a normal Wednesday night show, but they probably will load it up. What I'm hoping, and I'm hoping NXT is better at than WWE, is if they're going to do a themed show like this, like how WWE would always do the Thanksgiving shows, and there's always like a food fight. There's always something just stupid. There's some pilgrim costume contest or whatever. I'm hoping that NXT doesn't do that. They just have the Halloween Havoc backdrop, maybe have Shotzi do a couple of things, but have really good wrestling on there. Put a couple of title matches on there. And if they do that, I think I'm more than fine with it being a Wednesday night show. Part of the Wednesday Night War is try to stack up your card against the other brands. And now that they've got a 3 or 4 week heads up on this, AEW can stack their card on October 28th too. I think it would be cool if they could bring back some sort of a gimmick pay-per-view, because they can't do this one, but if there's something that WWE has not trademarked and there's something still floating around out there, maybe even WCW related, if they could put that head-to-head with Halloween Havoc, That could be a fun Wednesday night. That's going to be one that I'm going to have to make sure I'm off for in a few weeks. So that was a fun announcement. I already marked out for that at the beginning of the review here. So if you want to listen to that, you can. But that's fun. I'm excited. Really excited to see that. Next up, I got to say this might be my favorite match on the card. Santos Escobar defending the Cruiserweight title against Isaiah Swerve Scott. This is one that I was not going to be paying much attention to. Didn't really care who won. Like both guys. Thought they were going to open with this. This is the match I thought would just kind of kick off the show. Really good Cruiserweight match. I wasn't expecting Santos Escobar to drop the belt here because him and Phantasma seem to keep rolling here with that deal. And it's just, I don't know, it just didn't feel like time for him. But then again, I haven't been watching 205 Live much either, and trying to get a feel of where he is as champion. But I still wasn't feeling it here. But about 4 or 5 minutes into the match, I strongly started getting behind Isaiah Scott. I mean, he was doing some awesome things in there. This match was just lit from the word go. Props to the enhancement talent and everybody in the front row wearing their face masks, banging on the glass, making a shit ton of noise, and they were straight marking out for this match. That's really, honestly, probably the lowest one on the card, one of the lowest ones on the card, but it turned out to be the most fun. And it went on probably even five minutes longer than I thought it was. It was a long match. It was a good match. Crisp, no hiccups, not really any missteps or botches that I could see. And very, very awesome sequence near the end. I'd say the last 2 to 3 minutes of the match was the most fun for me. And there was the one spot where I swore that was it for Scott. I can't believe this wasn't the finish, but I don't know if he's done that move before, but whatever he did to Santos's arm, where he kind of like bent it back and I don't know, he stomped on it or whatever, it looked like he literally snapped it in half. It looked like Escobar's arm did what Sid's leg did in that infamous Thunder Nitro match, whatever it was. I mean, it bent horribly. I thought he legitimately broke his arm off. And then immediately went right into that 450 splash. And I'm like, that's it, new champ. And somehow Escobar kicks out. It was one of a lot of near falls in this match. Maybe one or two too many. And especially with that particular one, I thought that was it. I cannot believe Escobar kicked out of that. He had help. His cronies were out there that Scott was able to fend off and still, survive, and had a few really close near falls of his own. But in the end, he wound up smacking his head really hard on the ring post, kind of knocked him loopy, allowing Santos Escobar to regain control and win and retain the title. So that match was just ridiculous. I would have been fine. That would have been one match where I would have been totally cool with the title change because Swerve Scott made a believer out of me. I only barely pay attention to the guy. I watch his matches on NXT whenever he has one, but he's never been one of the guys that I've really considered to be like up at the top, of the NXT card of guys that I really enjoy watching. I've kind of been like indifferent about him. That all changed tonight completely. Just a wonderful performance. I was impressed as hell. That kid's money, and excellent job. Excellent Cruiserweight match. Can't say a bad thing about it. Before we get into Io Shirai and Candice, let me cruise up here and knock out a couple of super chats because they have been rolling in. And I definitely got to shout out, Antoine, I got you already with your Triple H one. And Chris Ludecki, man, good to see you and appreciate the $5. At Havoc, do we get the Yeti? Yes, we do. And a double bear hug spot and a monster truck match. We might. The PC is not as big as the Cobo Hall. I don't think any giants can be falling off of roofs. But I had said I want to do the Chamber of Horror match. I want to light somebody up, electrocute their asses, man. That's what I want to see. So I hope that we get some sort of a callback to one of those Halloween Havoc shows. You know how on the last pay-per-view you had Seth wearing the Rey Mysterio Halloween Havoc gear. It would be cool if they would have saved that for Halloween Havoc and had one of the Cruiserweights do it. That would have been fun. Or maybe even have Rey. Oh, that would even be better. Bring Rey in for that and have him wrestle Escobar. Have him wrestle Escobar. Is he hurt? What's Rey's deal? Can he work? Didn't he get hurt again? Well, if he can work, I would bring him in and have him wear that and face Escobar for the Cruiserweight title. That'd be good. I'd be into that. Some sort of callback, but I don't know, dude. I don't know if I want to see the Yeti. I don't think anybody deserves that. Who would play the Yeti? Who they got right now? Probably the dude who guards Shane McMahon's door on Raw Underground, which apparently they may have dropped. Is that the deal there? Sorry, I've been out of the loop. But that guy would make a great Yeti. He's enormous. Thank you, Zane G. Appreciate the $10. I know this is Takeover Stream, but you have been eyeballing Raw lately. Your thoughts leading into Hell in the Cell. I was able to watch Raw. I moved last Monday. That's when I moved. I got the internet hooked up just in time to turn Raw on, but I was walking around doing stuff the whole time Raw was on. But a couple of things I noticed about the show. Number one, no Raw Underground, which I didn't miss it, but makes you wonder where it was. And the Hell in the Cell. I told you I was right about that Randy Orton stuff. I knew they were going to do a third match. They have to. So it feels like, based on what we saw on Monday, that Orton and McIntyre will be back in the cell, I guess, aren't they? But the way they built it up was so stupid. I mean, I don't mind Randy Orton attacking all the legends with a chair, but are you kidding me? Night vision goggles, and then he turned the lights off, and you hear these stupid sound effects of the chair hitting the guys. And then the dumbest part was when Randy Orton leaves, you see this like rush of referees and agents and medical staff running into the locker room to tend to the guys because they obviously saw the beating from the truck. But then Randy Orton is standing right there. He like puts the hood on. He's like hiding. But they know he was dressed as a like it just, whoever writes this shit doesn't think it all, like they don't, we're not all 3 years old, you know, like it was just so dumb. And there could have been, so I liked all the build that they've done with Orton and McIntyre prior to this for the most part, but on Monday that was so jaw-droppingly stupid. It was more funny than anything else, but come on, you guys. Man, oh man, that was silly. But looks like, what's the other match we're going to do? Are we going to do 3 cell matches? Because we're going to do Sasha and Bayley. We're going to do Sasha and Bayley on Friday. And a lot of people think that Sasha might win the title Friday and then drop it in the Hell in the Cell, which will continue her horrible run of not being able to defend the title on pay-per-view and stuff. I'm going to be interested to see what they do on that SmackDown, because that's when the draft kicks off. And what I think is going to happen is that one of them will get drafted. They're not going to stay on the same brand. So they'll be drafted prior to the Hell in the Cell match, and that's when you might have the deal where titles might swap or something, or be on the same show. I don't know, but I think it will be maybe Sasha wins and retains maybe the SmackDown title, and like Bayley gets drafted and then Sasha wins the Cell. That's kind of what I would do. Keep Sasha on SmackDown, send Bayley to Raw, or you could flip it, but I'd probably send Bayley to Raw. Keep Sasha where she is so she can beat Bayley for the title. I don't know. But they're doing that match early. Who knows? We might not even get a finish out of that. But if we do, that could set up some interesting stuff for the Cell. But I think something's going to happen in that match that will set up the Cell match. That's probably what they're going to have to do. And I also think one of them will be drafted away from SmackDown. But we'll talk a lot more about that tomorrow night, because I'll be able to watch Raw a little bit more closely, and I'll try to catch up on everything else I missed. Like I said, I didn't see SmackDown on Friday night, so I'm a bit out of the loop. But yeah, we'll get into a lot on Monday night. All right, let's get into Io Shirai and Candice LeRae. This match, I was kind of hoping Candice was going to win, because earlier on, Rhea Ripley was backstage. She was kind of being endorsed by Triple H. She said, you know, you're the star of the future. And she says that she wants the winner here. So regardless of who wins between Io and Candice, she wants to face the winner for the title. Triple H basically says, okay, I guess. So it definitely looks like Ripley is going to be the next challenger. Now, I think Candice LeRae would make like maybe a more fun opponent. I think Rhea and Io would be better in the ring, because Candice, as great as I think she is just terrific in my eyes. She's not a 10 in the ring at all. So I think Io and Ripley would be a better match. But I think Candice and Ripley would be better opponents. You could have Johnny getting involved. How fun would it be to see Rhea Ripley beat the shit out of Johnny Gargano, you know, during the build or something like that? That would be a lot of fun. So I kind of thought if there was going to be one title change on this show, this would be it. But turned out not to be, but they had you fooled a couple of times. Candice put up a really good fight. I loved kind of her ring attire. Kind of made me think she really was going to win the title, because, you know, a lot of times, you know, when you win the title for the first time, you really deck yourself out in your best gear type of thing. And I thought maybe they were setting that up for Candice. Referee takes a bump later on in the match by Candice. She actually kind of back elbows him by accident. He goes down. Io Shirai hits the air raid crash on Candice, but there's no referee to count it. Candice then hits the wicked stepsister on Io Shirai, but no referee to count that. And then the match starts to get stupid when Johnny Gargano, husband Gargano, runs out there with a referee shirt on and gets in the ring and tries to count out Io, and she still kicks out. But even if she didn't, none of that is official, and Johnny just did not seem like he was helping the situation at all. Just running there with a referee shirt, it's very unofficial. You can just be straight up disqualified for that. Seems like he was putting his wife in a lot of jeopardy there in terms of her title shot, but it was mostly done as a distraction because when the referee comes to, he sees Johnny in the referee shirt. He's like, yo, that's my shirt. And they start arguing over the shirt. The referee makes him take the shirt off. During all this distraction, Candice is able to hit Io Shirai with the NXT title. She goes down. Johnny then scurries out of the ring. Referee turns around to count the 3. I thought that was going to be it. I thought that's how Candice was going to win the title because there's no way she's beating Io clean. So to me, I thought that was it. But Io kicked out. Io Shirai kicked out after Johnny Gargano interfered and after she got smacked with the belt. Still winds up kicking out. And then, and just in another tremendous sequence, a lot of very reminiscent of Swerve Scott and Santos from earlier on, she hits just an amazing Spanish fly onto Candice, followed by a very quick moonsault. As soon as she hit the Spanish fly, she bounced right up. She was up on the top rope like a cat, very Macho Man Randy Savage-like. Boom, hit Candice with a picture-perfect moonsault for the win, and Io Shirai retained the NXT Women's title. That was another really good match. So they were, 3 for 3 here? 4 for 4, whatever it is. Good stuff there. After the match, I was wondering if we were going to get the mystery person because I had a pretty good idea who I thought it was going to be, and I thought it was going to be a female, and I thought this would be a good place to debut it because we knew we were going to see it tonight. But instead, before we got that, Toni Storm appears on the Tron and announces to Io that she is back in NXT, or she's coming to NXT, and that's going to be a big boost up for the women's division because they feel like they need some girls right now. I mean, it's still strong, but with Mercedes, who came in real hot, and Mia Yim both kind of gone now, and they've already moved up a lot of other women as well. You need some substance there. You need some other top contenders. Toni Storm, NXT Women's Champion. She's got a victory over Rhea Ripley. She's a badass. Her coming in is going to be good enough. So that made me happy right there. And then right after that, they went into the vignette of the mystery person. I'm like, well, it's got to be Ember Moon now, if she's coming out here at the end. So not only do we get Toni Storm announcing that she's coming into NXT, we get the big return, the motorcycle deal. She comes out, helmet on, rips it off to reveal that it's Ember Moon. Kind of sporting a new, kind of really extreme haircut, but it looked really good. Very happy to see her back. She's going to be another one. Toni Storm and Ember Moon coming in 30 seconds apart, 1 minute apart. The women's division just got spicy in NXT, and I think they are 2 huge additions that's going to help a lot. And it also makes me wonder about Candice LeRae. I was asking you guys this on Twitter during the match, that if Candice takes a loss here, because Johnny already lost clean in the opener, if Candice is to lose here, then she lost basically clean here as well, because not only did she use a foreign object, she also had help from her husband, and she still came up short. Those are 2 pretty big definitive losses there. And what is left for either one of these 2 to do in NXT? They're not the same. They're not Johnny Wrestling and little bubbly, cute Candice LeRae anymore. They have a gimmick now. They're the Garganos. They have an act. And sometimes WWE likes their acts, like Elias and other acts in the company, to be moved up to the main roster. And I feel like Candice and Johnny are going to be drafted. I think they're going to go to Raw or SmackDown together. Just feels like that's what's going to happen, because I don't see, and with Candice leaving, you've filled that void easily with Toni Storm and Ember Moon coming in. So you lose nothing in the women's division. Candice has already been proven to not be championship material. She's lost all of her opportunities. So I think that's going to be it for them. And I think that they're going to wind up on Fridays or Mondays. I just feel that way. I posed that question to you guys on Twitter earlier. Some people were against it. No, they should stay in NXT forever. You're probably right, but the writing seems like it's on the wall to me. What do y'all think? What's up, Joey? How you doing? Yeah, but they do move them to SmackDown. They will be ruined in a year. They'll be completely murdered. Oh my God, Ryan Rhoda. I know. I was heartbroken. I did hear, as much as out of the loop as I have been, I heard about poor Tegan Nox tearing her ACL again. So that's 3. I don't know if you come back from 3. But that poor girl has had some horrible luck. We wish her the best here, of course. I mean, the most heartbreaking one was when she had it in the Mae Young Classic, and we all had to watch, her just in pain like that and all. And so to hear this happen to her again after, takes a year to recover from something like that. So that's a shame. I don't know if we'll see her back in the ring again or not. She'll be sporting some pretty big knee braces if she does. Yeah, that's a really big shame. Anyway, on to the main event now. Again, not a huge surprise in the outcome here. I didn't think Balor was going to be dropping this belt to Kyle O'Reilly unless NXT wanted to do a Randy Orton Evolution thing, because they've been really hyping on or harping on the fact that Adam Cole has got Kyle O'Reilly's back. Adam Cole seems to be really going out of his way to let everybody know that he's got his back. Kind of reminiscent of Triple H and Randy Orton. And then when Randy Orton beat Benoit and won the title, he was, executed. And they would attack him and kick him out of Evolution, and he would kind of go babyface. So I thought this maybe could be a similar deal there, but that was going to be the only way, in my mind, that they would put the belt on O'Reilly here if they wanted to create a story inside of Undisputed Era. But I don't really think you need to do that. I think they can implode or go their separate ways or do whatever they're going to do with Undisputed Era without really needing the title here, especially since Adam Cole just came off a year-long run with it. So the best I felt we could hope for here is a solid match from top to bottom, bell to bell, with Finn Balor retaining. And not only did we get that, we got more. I mean, this was, my God, both guys were just busted open in the mouth. It was brutal right from the word go. Just fantastic setting, too. I mean, I really liked all of the championship introductions tonight, with the dark lights and the spotlights and the two combatants in the ring and the announcements and all that. It just really just visually looked pleasing. So right off the bat, it had a title match feel to it. Just the way the two came face to face. They went over the instructions, blah, 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 bell rings, and they were just kicking each other's ass right from the word go. Kyle O'Reilly busted open the mouth. Balor busted open in the mouth. These guys were just all over the place, and they were beating the shit out of each other. It was awesome. This match reminded me a lot, and I know I bring up this match a lot, but I cannot think of a match in recent history that reminded me more of this one than this match did. Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit, Royal Rumble 2003. Just an amazing title match. Angle was champion. Benoit was moving up, but he just wasn't quite ready. He would be a year away. A year later, he'd have his moment. But he wasn't quite there yet. But he was definitely starting to be considered and treated as a championship contender. Somebody that can actually really win the belt this time, unlike, like in 2000 when he was working with The Rock and stuff. So they were like close to ready to pull the trigger on Benoit, but not quite. Him and Angle have just a barn burner of a match at the Royal Rumble. Fantastic stuff. Benoit kind of gets the adulation from the fans after the match, standing ovation from the crowd. This was kind of the same way. O'Reilly really made believers out of a lot of us. And after Balor hit the final coup de grace for the win at the end, there was the cool show of respect there. They shook hands. Balor's like, you're a legit deal. And I liked all of that. So it reminded me kind of Escobar and Swerve and all the other matches on the show. It was just awesome, like from top to bottom. No, like I said, no hiccups, no botches. There was a one slip up that I noticed, but for the most part, this match was crisp and good, and these guys worked spectacularly together. They had a really good story there being told with Kyle O'Reilly and how he'd been coming up, especially working that really kind of typical independent life, sleeping in cars, piling in hotel rooms, road life, $50 payoffs, things like that, doing all of that to finally get up to an opportunity like this to work with, one of the best in the world, Finn Balor, and get a title shot. Told a really good story there. Then plus the fact that he's a lower member of Undisputed Era, with Adam Cole being the leader and he's always been the world champion. That now making another top contender in the same faction there could create a story in and of itself. And there's all sorts of like different angles here. So that match had story behind it. That match had just amazing athleticism, and I don't think the story is done being told yet, especially with Undisputed Era, because after Balor and O'Reilly had the little show of respect, Ridge Holland showed up with a beaten up Adam Cole over his shoulder, and looked like he got to him somewhere and kicked his ass. And who knows? So that's going to, I guess the entire Undisputed Era is going to feud with this guy now. I'm not sure. But they basically left you with a cliffhanger there. Say, okay, this is what they're going to do next. So good on Kyle O'Reilly. Hopefully WWE and Triple H is the type of guy that I think will take notice of something like this. He's probably super impressed with his performance, and this might not be the only title shot he gets. It's kind of cool to see somebody like Kyle O'Reilly on NXT getting title shots and Jey Uso getting title shots on SmackDown. That's really awesome, if you ask me. So I thought it was great. I thought this was just a fantastic match, and props to both guys. So, yeah, it was, what do we have, 5 matches? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, there's a 5-match card. I don't know why I thought Adam Cole had a match on this show. For some reason, I thought he was taking on Austin Theory. Maybe that's on Wednesday, or maybe that was last week. I don't know. But I kind of had that match in my head for some reason. Maybe I'm just crazy. I don't know. But overall, like I said, not a bad match on the card. Great stuff. What's going on, Ricochet? Good to see you. Appreciate the $2 favorite holiday. Probably Thanksgiving, I guess. Well, no, I have to work a lot on Thanksgivings. Christmas, I guess. Christmas is awesome. What's going on, Arnez Cooper? Good to see you. Holy crap, we got nobody in this chat right now. You guys do me a favor and hit the thumbs up. I'm going to wrap up this review and get out of here since we got not much of an audience happening, and we're going to be back tomorrow night for Raw. We'll be back to normal, back to business, talking about the show, and we'll have our normal crew in here. I never seem to do well on these NXT shows. Do less people watch it or something? Because I thought it was great and getting great feedback on social media tonight. By the way, I'm checking Twitter, checking up on that poll to see if I got any D's. I got 0.9% D, 51% A, 39% B, 8% C. Yeah, this was universally beloved. It really was. Ooh. Possible dislocated jaw for Finn Balor? No. He was busted up pretty bad though. In his mouth. Ay, ay. Just checking out some more stuff. All right, there we go. We're back. Hey, Victor, good to see you, man. Appreciate the 2. How do you like the pay-per-view, and how's your new place? Well, I love the pay-per-view. We just got done talking about that, and the new place is awesome. It's coming along. Still got a lot of work to do. This is a big room with high ceilings, so it's got some reverb. So I've got some sound stuff to do. I've got some lighting to do, and I got a lot more organizing and unpacking to do, but we are ready to plug a mic in and a camera on and start streaming here, and it'll start coming together, but I love it. It is a badass, awesome place. So, we're gonna have fun here streaming in the next few months. Yeah, David, you are right. That is the loyal family hanging out in the chat tonight. That's for sure. Yeah, I had to come up here tonight. I wasn't gonna miss this one, and I'm glad that they delivered a solid show, so we're not up here picking our butts. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Poskino. It was more than a pretty good show. It was a really solid show, in my opinion. Just one of the best. At least, I judge everything kind of now in the COVID era, because nothing that they can really, even when they give us a great show like this, nothing is the same as when there's fans there, but in terms of the COVID era, I don't know when it doesn't get much better than this, in the last few months. This is a really good takeover, and it took them a while to kind of find their niche too, doing the empty shows and then kind of slowly transitioning into the Thunderdome and moving from Full Sail to the PC, and the whole thing's just a really strange situation. So now that they kind of feel like they're finding their groove, and they're now in this era, and we know what era we're in. It's easier to appreciate the shows, I guess, more, and they're just much more enjoyable to watch now that they've kind of figured out what to do while we're waiting for the COVID stuff to ever go away, if it ever does. Yeah, Cobra Kai. I think, Jacob, it's January 8th. That would be interesting if it was January 4th, because that's a famous day in wrestling. Finger Poke of Doom. Mick Foley's big title victory. We had Impact going head-to-head with Raw. Brett and Sean's reunion. All sorts of good stuff happened on January 4th. But I think it's January 8th, and I cannot wait. It's about time. That actually is kind of a relief. I thought Season 3 would be in, April. or something. I thought it was a little further off than that. So I've been waiting a year and a half. I can wait 3 more months. It's all good. So yeah, January 8th, I will binge watch all 10 episodes. Mark my words. What's going on, Midwest Goon? Good to see you. Glad you're joining us, even though I'm about to bounce out of here. Tonight was going to be a really quick stream. Wasn't going to spend too much time on the show. Just wanted to run through it, and so I can kind of get back to work, getting organized. And then tomorrow night, we'll probably have a little bit more of a stream where I'll be up here for maybe a couple of hours. Then maybe I'll have more than one Stella. Who knows? But hopefully it'll stack up Raw to be somewhat decent tomorrow. And no night vision goggles, Mr. Orton. Is that what it was? The knee to the mouth? I didn't even catch where he got busted open. They both looked like they got their teeth or jaws jacked up pretty good, because O'Reilly was bleeding first. But yeah, there's that one still shot of Balor celebrating, and his jaw almost looks a little jacked. Hope he's all right. It's the last thing we need right now, is another champion having to forfeit a title. Yeah, Bo Dallas, I'm assuming you mean, might be back. He was the other big possibility for that returning champion, but the more and more you watch the vignettes, it felt way more like Ember Moon than Bo Dallas, so I was not surprised that it turned out to be Ember. And plus, I think NXT could use Ember more than Bo right now. Bo would be great. I love Bo, but in terms of the women's division, they need a name. So having Ember Moon come back into the fold, adding Toni Storm to the mix, I think overnight, the women's division in NXT has gotten 40% better. You know what I mean? Even potentially losing Candice LeRae, which, like I said, I really think is going to happen. I think her and Johnny are going to get drafted. Though that void has been filled with those two. So NXT's starting to look up again. Yeah, the teaser looks interesting. Robbie definitely goes to jail. Apparently we get, or Juvie. Apparently we get 3 deaths. There's definitely a couple of fights with Johnny and Kreese. Hawk fucks somebody up because he's got bloody knuckles, which is a throwback to the second movie. Good stuff all around. If you really break down that 40-second clip, 40-second trailer, you could talk for 3 hours about it because there's so much possibility. So I'm very excited about Cobra Kai. It's the only show I nerd out for. I don't know, Wrestle Austin. Do I think Triple H will take over one day? We all thought that, when he married Stephanie, it looked like it was going to be the two of them. That seems to maybe have changed now in recent years. I don't know. Shane is back in the mix. I don't know if Vince is not dumb. He's got to have a plan in place. He can't honestly in his head think he's going to live forever. So I'm sure plans for succession have been written. It's just what exactly those are. Is it going to be equal power between all three? Which that might not be good, because that's when you start getting struggles and things like that. At the end of the day, there needs to be one final say. But when Vince dies, they might not go that direction. There might not be one, but there needs to be one. And at this point, in terms of who's the most qualified, I'd probably say Triple H, to be honest. It's all up to them. Yes, Clyde. Oh my God, Clyde. A shout out to him, man. He happened to be in San Diego here on the exact days that I'm moving and working at the same time. And I never got, he hit me up to see if we could meet up. And I've worked every night, and I've been trying to unpack, and we had a pay-per-view today. And Clyde, I am so sorry. That was just really bad timing. Next time you're here, let's meet. Let's have a drink. Chris Ludecki, that goes for you too. I know I owe you a meetup at some point. And I'm really sorry I missed you, Clyde. Man, it's been a crazy week. I am exhausted. But I hope you enjoyed your trip here. You said you're from Arkansas, right? Little Rock? Hope you enjoyed SD. You had some hot weather when you were here too, man. It was a hot week. Jesus. Once the time changes, it'll start getting a little bit cooler. But yeah, Clyde visiting us. He had he was hit with a hot one. That's for sure. Good to see you. Barry, thanks for 2. Give a good team name for HBK and Goldberg. The Super Dicks. Ha! That's a pretty good one. Just made that up, man. Yeah, Victor, Halloween Havoc. I am very excited about that. The only thing that did just dull my excitement a little bit is the fact that it's a Wednesday show. I still think they can make it great, having it be a part of the Wednesday Night Wars and letting AEW build up their card to go up against it. I think that's going to make for a really fun night of wrestling. But when I first saw the Halloween Havoc logo, I kind of had my heart set on a pay-per-view. but we're getting it on a Wednesday instead, which honestly might even be more fun. So either way, I'm happy for it. Either way, I'm just glad that name is brought back. It was always fun, and I know there's not a Halloween Havoc that I haven't enjoyed. They're all fun. What's up, Chris? Thanks. Like I said, I'm in Irvine. Is that close? Not that close, but it's doable. Irvine's not too crazy far away. The old bald guys. Yeah, that would work for Sean and Goldberg too. I think Super Dicks is better. Because they both been dicks in their careers. Oh, okay, Clyde. You have been here before. Yeah, 5 years here in the Marines. Yeah, I got a buddy in the Navy. He lives out in Murrieta. And Devlin was even asking about Air Force academies or Air Force bases around here and stuff. Right on, man. Well, welcome back. I'm glad you got to hang out for a few days in the whale's vagina. And come back soon, man. Come back soon. All right, guys. I think I'm going to get out of here. That is a wrap on my first stream in the new office. And like I said, it'll evolve, start looking better, and start changing as I go here, and we'll start getting into a groove. And we'll be back tomorrow night right after Raw. Join me over on Twitter at GoodMicWork. I'll shout out some live tweets during the show, and hopefully it's not a crappy one, and we'll come up here and talk about it, hang out, and get back to business starting it tomorrow night. So you guys take care. Have a good rest of your night and weekend. Catch you tomorrow. Peace.